No.
Thank you, Audrey. And I'll do a quick presentation. I think all of you, many of you have been, and I think you've all seen the presentation. So rather than lots of me talking, we mostly want to have time for Q&A. But I thought it would be good to have a few minutes just to go through the basics. And we're a small group, so write your questions in the chat or put your hand up, ask your questions as we go. So it's not too much of my monologue. I have a few slides to go along with the conversation. So, oh, we have somebody else joining us. Or did somebody drop?
No, it's Robert, I think, joining us.
Oh, okay. So next year, September, we are working to finalize the dates because we're working to figure out exactly which land we'll be on. But we're looking at mid-September, sorry. The kind of energetic reason behind this time of the year is, well, I mean, it's my time of the year. I love it. It's Virgo birthday. Me and Audrey are Virgos, and we know Virgos are the best sign. But more seriously speaking, I really like this kind of fall energy, which is the summer is finished and we're not like, it's time to roll up our sleeves and get to work. So this is the kind of energy of the gathering of tribes. We're here to celebrate. It's harvest festival time. Fall is also harvest festival, but it's also looking at, let's get to work. What things are we going to make happen this year? So that's why September and the fall. The vision, we have a vision statement, which is to catalyze the emergence of a regenerative system of collaboration, which is kind of very wordy, but basically, you know, we're here to build collaboration in the regenerative ecosystem. And celebration is a key part of that, learning, dancing, but really, we're here to support things happening, connecting for action, enabling people's livelihoods. And in the long term, you know, we really see this vision of the emergence of a regenerative society. And the dream is of the gathering of tribes as being one part of that. And of course, not just this one gathering, but spreading around the world. Make sense? Okay, more or less. Cool. So in terms of the gathering itself, I think one interesting idea is, my dream is that there's many amazing transformative events for individuals from all kinds of, whether spiritual or professional or other, but the dream is to create a transformative event for tribes. And I use this idea of tribes because I want it to be, first of all, it's a provocation to think of, you know, who is your tribe? Where do you belong? What is the group whose name is such that you want to be associated with and you want to support and grow? But also, for me, a tribe, for it can be a company, it can be a village, it can be a community, it can be whatever group that you say is your tribe, right? It's not for me to decide whether your tribe is real or not. It's for you to decide. And if your tribe is energetic enough to come and build a camp, please welcome. So that's why the word camp. At the same time, I really see the gathering as the dream is that the gathering is transformative for a tribe in the sense that it makes you stronger. It's a great time, it's a great opportunity to get together your tribe. You know, most of us work remotely, hybrid in some form or another. Even if our core group is co-located, our partners, our collaborators, our customers are spread out one way or another. And we know we should get together. We know the value of getting together in person. At the same time, it takes a lot of energy to bring together your team, your partners, and all of this. So my hope is that the Gathering of Tribes is an excuse. It's an excuse to finally get together, and yes, you could make your own retreat, and many bigger and stronger organizations do, but will you be able to get together all of your partners, all of your supporters, people that are only partially interested in or don't know you well enough to actually travel to meet in person? Well, here it's much easier because it's not just you, it's the whole bigger festival. So really, it's an excuse to get together. Of course, at the core is this idea of co-creation, no spectators. So we don't make a schedule, an agenda, invite speakers, make a stage, create musicians. This is for all of the people coming together to co-create and make happen. This is, for me, it's the big epiphany I had in 1999, the first time I went to Burning Man and saw that like you could have an event happen with no centralized control of the program. And I really think this fits beautifully the ethos of regeneration, because for me, this regenerative ecosystem, regenerative society is one where we have much more horizontal, bottom up, peer collaboration, co-creation. And of course, this idea for connecting for action. I've been going to festivals for 30 years. I'm sure you have been to different ones as well. And I've really come to appreciate and feel the power of how easy it is to make connections in a festival setting. So I really want to see how we can apply this power to the regenerative ecosystem, to our regenerative work, and apply it to building our neighborhoods, projects, and strengthening our tribes. Thoughts, comments? All right. Moving on. So the regenerative ecosystem is growing beautifully, and we really want to bring together players in all different areas of the regenerative ecosystem. I mean, it's kind of a cliche, it's all connected, we're all one, but really, I think every regenerative area has connection and overlap with some other regenerative area, or would benefit from learning what others are doing. Something that I've come to personally is that if you're doing regenerative anything, you need to be a regenerative organization. You need to think about what regenerative leadership in an organization means. So we all share that. So that's the idea. And I think also it's super inspiring when you discover that there is things such as regenerative art and regenerative media communications. I think it becomes very, for me at least, it becomes incredibly energizing to discover how many people from how many different angles are approaching this whole idea of regeneration. So our general timeline is we're doing the invitations to the tribes to build camps now. The goal is to start selling tickets in January. Oh, one key thing that's different for those that came last time is that this time there will be no free floating tickets. So everybody will belong to some camp. The idea behind it is that really it's about tribes. It's a gathering of tribes, so it makes sense that everybody is part of a tribe. Also, it ensures that as the event grows in size, and this time we're hoping to have 1,000 people gathering at least, everybody still gets to be part of a human-sized smaller group. So we don't want people lost in a huge sea of people as you do as the event becomes bigger. there will be an app. So one thing that we're working on, still have to figure out the details, but we're working on the prototype of having an app which enables tying together the schedule. So, the schedule is emergent and everybody co-creates it throughout the thing. But in order that you are able to find things and not be completely lost, there'll be a festival app. And that's it. Questions? Maybe we can do a round. We have half hour.
We can do a round. If there's no questions, I can bring back up some of the questions that were asked during the introduction as well.
Let's do quickly go around. Start with Kath, since you're the newest. Would love to hear your questions first.
That's very sweet, Victor. Can I pass?
Of course.
Thank you.
Liminal Village. I'm sure you have some hard questions for us.
For me, not so much a question as a comment, which is I'm really looking forward to providing this sort of conceptual theme infrastructure to help people connect across different tribes along different themes, and that to me is a really exciting possibility. So I don't have to ask questions about that because I'm helping to create it, but I think it's worth mentioning. Simon?
Well, I'm new to this. I only heard about this in the last couple of days, and I'm very intrigued and curious about what this event is going to be. And I'd love to be involved in one way or another. And what I've noticed from the conversation so far, that the most common word I've heard is connection or connecting, being connected. And something I've observed throughout all of our conversation series, that it's the connections that matter more than the things that are being connected. And if we're going to grow a network, we need to focus on those connections more than anything else. And so I like the sense that I'm feeling when everybody is talking about that, and this is a shared recognition of the importance of that.
Yeah, thank you.
And no questions.
Yeah, thank you. This is something multiple people have pointed out, and actually the toughest question / critique I've gotten around the whole concept was, well, how are you actually going to make sure that the connections happen and that there is follow-up, which is something I'm very much thinking about and thinking of how the app could support. I have this kind of half-baked idea, but if we had something like in the app, when you connect with somebody, you actually put in an intention, and this is broadcast through the Discord or other things, then you have peer support from your tribe and from others for actually making the follow-up and the connection happen. But it's just part of an idea. But yes, for sure, you're super right. And thanks so much for your work, Simon, on the themes. I think this is a key part of it as well, of helping us connect and see where the connections are. Who else? And actually, you said one thing that you said, you're looking forward to seeing what the event will be. Me too. This is what I love about this co-created element, is that my goal, I mean, my hope and what happens is that like stuff happens that I would never have imagined. And I'm a pretty creative person, but even last event, Evgenia brought a artist who did live burials. People went, dug their own graves, and got to be buried. And I was like, wow, I can see how that's powerful. Not in a million years would this be something that I would envision. So this is the power of this kind of a co-created event. We'll all be discovering what will happen. Who else has questions? Or actually, I see Robert and Dominic joined us. Robert, maybe you can say hello, say what tribes you're part of and what questions you have today.
Hey everyone. Yeah, I can turn on my camera briefly, but I'm just chilling out on the bed. We went out for the whole day, so thanks for the check-in and the update, Victor and the team. So far, it really looks great. I'm still from the last event. I'm sort of wondering, because we also were thinking about the lessons we learned, the feedback loops, right? And I'm sure lots of them, experiences will be implemented this time. But also the scaling of it, I understand it's a lot bigger, of course, this event this time. So I'm wondering if with 800 or 900 people, yeah, how you sort of see if there's a difference in management. Of course there is, but I think there's a question for me there that have my interest. And for the rest, maybe I missed a part in the beginning about location and such, whatever is happening. So, but I really like what I see, and I guess the whole event will be built around all these themes that you showed, or is it still a bit fluid?
So I think 3 questions there: scaling, land, and themes. Yes. So the land, we're in the process, we're in a conversation with a number of parties and trying to figure it out. Audrey is super hardcore full-time on it. So it will be in Portugal because we're here and also it's a great place to have a festival. We will know in the next month, hopefully, where exactly it is. In terms of the themes will be there to tie it together, but the event is built around the camps. So for me, it's in general, I imagine that each camp will be led by a tribe, but holding that loosely and see how it will evolve. But the themes and topics are there to help you navigate between the camps and the different activities they give and so on and so forth. And in terms of the scaling, there is a power of a bigger group of people. I've been personally in festivals anywhere from, well, from a dozen people or less to 1.5 million. I think the biggest thing I ever was the 1997 Love Parade in Berlin, which was somewhere between 700,000 and 1.5 million people. But that's on the extreme end. I've been at festivals with 50, 70,000 is already huge, but definitely 3,000 to 5,000 people is a really, it's still human size, but it's very powerful. Of course, we're not going to go from 250 to 3,000 people, but yeah, we really hope that to go to the 1,000, there's just economic realities, right? Audrey is working 1/3 time, half time, starting from January. So yeah, that's the scaling. And I think what will hold the scaling to make it make sense is, one is the app, and 2 is that everybody belongs to a camp. So they're, you know, no matter what size the festival gets, you're still part of a human-sized group.
And if I can add, just to link that up with your question on the land, Robert, obviously the land requirements are following the size, right? So the environment will obviously need to support that. Yeah.
Hi,
Great.
Dominic. Welcome, you joined us. Tell us what tribes you're connected with and what questions do you have?
Hi, everybody. I hope that you're doing well. I've been brought in here from 2 different tribes, from GaiaNet and from Weave. So I think that the regenerative communication space is like where I'll most likely be really tapping in. And that's just because over the past half year, I've been working a lot on creating synergies between different communicative projects. Because one thing I've come across, I've been sort of making a large network map of what I call the New World Movement or the New World Network, which I think the Gathering of Tribes, like what is so amazing is it's the embodiment of that. And the regenerative aspect is like that key descriptor for what connects us, what brings us together, an awareness of ecology. In a very multidimensional sense, not like just ecosystem, but in ecological awareness, equilibrium, etc. So questions, I'm excited to know, Portugal, it's a country. I'd like to know where in Portugal it is. So obviously it's quite a ranging region. And I think timelines will also be great for just, making things actionable, because September is quite close. So for me, on my end, knowing what are key components I potentially need to bring in, like all of that logistics it's creeping already. So I look forward to knowing those things. I also know how much is going on your end for planning. So I look forward for you taking your time to divulge that information. But I think that's it. Otherwise I'm having these meetings with regenerative comms and seeing what's going to be the best way to contribute and to make a really transformative space, a really potent space, a really, yeah. There's this word in Sanskrit for aesthetics, which they call rasa, which is it's this word for the wonderfully pungent, tasty aesthetic and ethical value of a thing. And I hope I can't wait to know how I can contribute to making that happen with you all.
So yeah, we're working on the land. We're not sure where in Portugal yet, but the plus side is that Portugal is actually a small enough country that 9 months ahead, just Portugal, I think, is specific enough. We will know in the next month or two exactly which land. I mean, we're a new festival, so we're talking to lots of people to try and find the right location. What were the other components of your question?
Man, I'm pretty clear. Like honestly, it all makes total sense to me. Time and place just are helpful for coordination. Otherwise, though, it's makes total sense.
Brilliant.
And Dominic, just to say, I'm going to follow up in the coming days or weeks latest to the whole network with more details around logistics. So some of this should hopefully address your questions of, yeah, September is not that far away and we need to get going. So yeah, but our objective as a team is really to support all of you guys, all the tribes and the camps in that process. Like we understand it's a lot. So we're going to put quite some resources around this to do a pretty holistic camp incubation and onboarding before the event.
Yeah, I mean, I guess something I will add in, definitely just like zero waste aspects of things, like those do take a lot of planning. I imagine you as planners are like way ahead of it, but it, in our age, it's trickier than we think, which is it's a sad thing. But I would definitely need more information on that, because that's a part of logistics too. People really designing their entrance and approach so that it is just such a soft and graceful landing, for everybody.
Thank you. I see Kath has her hand raised.
Yes, I'm ready, Victor. I have gathered some thoughts. Dominic, it was lovely meeting you. I cannot wait to co-create the region camp with you. So good. And I think I want to hop on some thoughts and some themes or threads you started to spin, and share some of the questions I'm holding as to am I understanding it correct that as part of the 5 days event that we actually build our camps in those 5 days, or will that happen before that? As in, if we are co-creating those camps, should I already arrive in August or what? I think that is my first question I'm holding, to dive a bit into the logistics.
Should I take it, Victor? I'm the queen of logistics here. So you're completely flexible, Kaf. You can arrive, say, 5 days to a week before the event. And if you're a great builder, for example, and you love this stuff, great, you can go and build your camp. We understand that quite some people will be coming from abroad, will have no particular skills in building things. So what we're going to do to support you is basically build a list of people, companies, initiatives that can support you to do that. So if you wanted to get your camp built by someone or kind of group it together with another camp and so on and so forth, we'll basically provide enough support so that you can make that happen from East Berlin prior to the event and arrive on the day of the event. Some camps, like for example, projects that are land-based projects that are based in Portugal, will probably want to arrive a week before the event and actually do everything themselves. But we are trying to give the option to a very hybrid approach to it. Yeah. And we are working already with a glamping provider, so you will be able to like add your glamping to your tickets or your camping, so on and so forth. Yeah, and all of this will be provided in this info pack that I was just telling Dominic about, which will have budget templates and project plan templates and all those options available for you to see already. Yeah.
That sounds amazing, Audrey. Thank you. I guess another question I'm holding is, when I'm diving into the theme of, I guess, collaborating and connecting, and I very consciously choose the active form of those words, the verbing. I heard Barbara speaking about that there is I guess, an intention to already start weaving together way earlier, and she named the opportunity to provide or set up webinars or workshops already in January. And so I'm, of course, I heard the question around connecting or connection before, but I felt it was very, I guess, event, festival, or for the gathering focused. And I'm wondering, yeah, what are the mechanisms you guys were thinking about to already connect in January, let's say, and I guess start building that movement and those connecting efforts way ahead?
Should I take it, Victor? You want to go?
Yeah.
So we have designed what we call the pre-gathering. The idea is that with the gathering of tribes, we're trying to create a new world, right? For 5 days, at least. And we understand that it's not only very hard, but it would actually be unfair to throw 1,000 people in that space with completely new rules, with beautiful intentions. But it's hard, no? We're all transitioning from one space to another space. So the pre-gathering is basically this period between January, starting even now, and July, August, the month before the event, where we are already building the space, developing the culture, embedding the culture, and building those connections that we're talking about. And we are going to do that through a number of online events, from webinars to much more specific sessions on the regenerative themes that we've shown earlier, and so on and so forth. And the idea is that those spaces already will be co-created because we're already building and bringing the culture of the gathering. So, for example, I offered Barbara to lead the Regen Communications webinar, which would bring together all the actors from that space online. So this is one element. And then another element is that we're going to have what we call camp builders salons, which will be sessions like this one, where we answer your questions, but also, and potentially most importantly, other camp builders who have experienced the 2022 gathering or other festivals like Burning Man will actually give direct input in terms of how did you build a tent? how did you organize your foods? The very basic but super important stuff that will make up the culture of your camp as well. So this is also an invitation to you all to suggest whatever you think would be valuable for this pre-gathering. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you, Audrey. I guess the last question is really quick, and then I'm done. And then Thomas, you can have the space.
But sorry, if I could just connect with what Audrey said to answer that question. The answer is, for everything with the gathering of tribes, you tell us. You know, we have the start of the idea and the spirit and the direction. If you have ideas for how to do some of this connection, please. You know, it's an open playground. One way I think of the gathering of tribes is, we're here building this playground. We're calling all of these people to come play, but we don't decide the game. So if you have games that you would like us to play together, please suggest it. Sorry.
I love it. Thank you, Victor. I love to play. I guess the last question with regards to connecting is, I'm consciously not on Discord, so I would choose to join the Telegram channel. I saw that it's out there. Am I missing anything in the Telegram channel if I'm not in Discord?
We have accepted that we will quadruple post most information in 5 different channels, because this is how the world is right now. So
at the same time, during the event itself, I envision the app connecting, and when there is many channels around topics and around things, I mean, we've decided we're going to try, you know, any platform that you choose, somebody's going to hate. It's unfortunately the reality of the time. But during the event itself, because, you know, we don't have the budget to build a whole communications app at a high quality level. So during the event itself, Discord will be the main medium for communication. So you can have all of the different channels and the app will connect to it and stuff like this. For now, in terms of the information that we put out about the gathering and such, it will be posted everywhere.
Okay, thank you. This was so helpful. Thank you so much.
Thomas, you have your hand up. And you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, my question is, am I still muted? No. Right. Yeah, no, I kind of got answered, but I was thinking, but one question I had, will it be van life friendly like last time? Because there will be a lot of van people. I'm assuming, I'm expecting. And second question was, what lessons can we take from Burning Man and from the 2022 experience? What was learned that's really vital to a success for the coming one? Yeah,
I can start, and Victor, you can jump in. Yes, of course, it will be event friendly. And to your second question, the feedback that I heard from 2022 was, for example, what Victor was saying around the fact that some people were not attached to a tribe could be a bit confusing, because you had those free electrons moving around, which is partly why we made this decision. In 2022, I mean, I'm really happy that we're working with Rob now to bring the council to have this governance structure. I wouldn't say it was missing, but yeah, it's a good learning. What happened in 2022 is that, I think you might know, but it was kind of brought in completely organically at some point. I'm excited for this to be embedded in the design. Yeah, Victor?
Yeah, so that's definitely we have 4 minutes, so I'll try and make it quick. But one of my favorite experience of 2022 was perhaps the most unpleasant one. As always, there was a camp that was playing music much too loudly. We had agreed until 11. And then we said, okay, let's stretch it until 12. Thankfully, Audrey had already left the premises, because otherwise she would have freaked out. 1 o'clock, it was still loud. 2 o'clock, it was still full on. And then somebody came up to me and they were like, you're the organizer. Are you not going to do something about it? And in one of those rare moments that you have in life of full clarity and perfect comeback, I looked at him and I went, they're your neighbors. You go talk to them. And what it really made clear to me is there's absolutely, I'm an anarchist at heart. There's no way I'm going to be in the role of judge, jury, police, rule maker. At the same time, I appreciate that this is necessary. So what crystallized for me at that point is for this to be a co-created event, this rule setting. Of course, there's certain rules which go with the law, which as organizers, we're responsible for, health and safety, like fires, for example. You know, like there is zero tolerance in Portugal with fires, you know, like law, right? This is a hard rule. But something like the music is loud and somebody is being inconvenienced by that, you know, this is something that the community needs to decide on and decide how it's policed and decide how it's executed, how it's enforced. So that was a massive learning from 2022. Cool. We have last 2 minutes. I would really like to respect the time. I know, Rob, you didn't get a chance to say a question. Do you have any closing questions?
No, but just on your last point, for me, it's about how do we create spaces where people can work with agreements. That's the point. How can we trust it? Build a space to build connection, to trust each other enough to make agreements, and then come back to it when those agreements are threatened or overcome. I'm just very interested in one of the guys who was talking about from Liminal Village about connecting people through themes. I'd really love to connect with that guy. I can't remember which one of you it was. Yeah,
Simon.
Somehow or other, I'd love to connect with you a bit about that. But other than that, I'm great. Thank you.
Right. And Yesu, you didn't also have a chance to say any questions. Do you have any questions?
More or less the same than Rob, like in the last experience in the Gathering of Tribes was like beyond the natural and organic connection between the people. How can we make a transversal strategy to create regenerative impact, no? Like networking, like part of the agent, a part of the own agent of each camp, a transversal or common agent to making design, evaluate the local problems, and also if there is a direct communication with local people in their own language, Spanish people, invitation to the gathering, if there is one idea, also as economically successful for like, yeah.
Let's have a conversation. Let's have a call, because I'd really love, given that Spain is within drivable distance, would really love to have a conversation with you how to have a stronger Spanish presence. All right.
Before we go,
Audrey.
I have put a link to a sign-up form in the chat. I'm just reposting it now. If everyone could take 1 minute, not even 30 seconds, to just fit it in, and this will ensure that you stay in the loop for all updates and we have your info. Thank you.
Cool. So, I mean, whoever would like to, if somebody wants to stay, we're happy to stay a few more minutes, talk a bit more, but official program is finished here. Maybe we can finish recording here as the official close of